questions that need to be answered as we are under 10 days before the start of free agency. We'll get down to the gold tax. We'll get down to the gold tax right after this on Locked On Golden Knights.
You're Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hi again, everyone. Tony Cardasco, Chris Golick on WTF from Las Vegas. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. Find us wherever you get your podcast. Please make sure to subscribe to our Locked On Golden Knights YouTube channel. We are brought to you today by Ultimate Hockey GM. Get 100% free boost. Use the promo code Locked On in Game Shop. Let's start here, Chris. We haven't heard about talks yet or any movement of any sort with Jonathan Marchessault. As talks, are they ongoing? Nobody really knows. We don't want to negotiate this through the media, mind you. Yet there are still some subtle plants, if you will. Frank Saravelli posted, should Vegas make a pitch to keep Jonathan Marchessault this offseason? Frank believes VGK will try, but it won't be easy. Well, that sounds like VGK is trying to control the narrative once again. I could see them planting stories. I could see headlines now about how Marchessault, he wouldn't take a 3-year, $6.5 million contract offer because he's going to say that, they just weren't paying him enough, and they're going to pin the blame on Jonathan Marchessault. Nothing from the Marchessault camp or Marchessault himself. Let's start there.
Yeah, I mean, it's, basically it's crazy how fast it's gone, right? I mean, we were just 45 days away. We were just 37 days away, 32 days away. Now we're not 9 days away or however many days there are in June or 10 days. We are about 6 days away because that's really when things are going to start to get cooking. I mean, the 28th or something is when people can start the pre-negotiations. They're already happening. We know that. But so it's looming, and I think the price gets a little more expensive every second that goes by. And I think here's the biggest problem right now. There's a lot of problems, but I think the biggest problem is the emotional aspect of this. Maybe every day that gets just a little bit closer, Marchessault becomes a little bit more detached from the situation. Maybe he starts to realize that, hey, we're 9 days away. There's a good chance that I may not be a Golden Knight for the rest of my career, or at least for the next 3 to 4 seasons, however much longer he decides to continue the National Hockey League. And time is definitely not on the side of the Golden Knights. Marchessault holds all the chips in this. End of story. Marchessault, if he wants to pursue an $8 million AAV deal, he has the right and opportunity to do so. If he wants $7 million and a 4 to 5 year term, he has the right to pursue that. If he wants to go in the 6 to 6.5 range, he's probably going to remain a Golden Knight for at least another 3 to 4 seasons. Problem is, I think that ship has sailed. That ship sailed probably a year ago, next week, right? When you technically after July 1st is when a contract extension can be negotiated for someone with an expiring contract. And Marchessault tried. How many different ways did Marchessault say he tried? Basically, he came out and said he tried. And then in the exit interviews, he's done everything he can to be a Golden Knight next year. What more can the organization want from Marchessault besides to cut the team a deal, which he tried to do?
At each of the 4 VGK preseason home games, VGK will have giveaways with exclusive player pins. Very telling, no Marchessault pin. I just kind of read into these. Of course, I read into a lot of this. Hurdle, Carlson, Stone, Noah Hannafin, and Aiden Hill.
Carlson's not going nowhere, bro. He ain't leaving anytime soon.
No, ever. No Marchessault in the softball game against the Raiders. And it's just very telling. And Aiden Hill gets a pin. No Logan Thompson. Thompson's done. He's out of here.
Because of the pin, he's gone. No pin, he's gone.
No, they're going to move him. I mean, come on. You can't read between the lines here.
I know, and I've been very, very upfront about Logan, but I feel like I've said this 2 or 3 different times, so maybe I'm tripling down on my statements. One of these times I might actually be right on Logan Thompson. Yeah, I mean, listen, with Marchessault, every path is in play right now, right? He could be a Golden Knight for life. He could be gone. He can get traded today before in the half hour after we record this segment and before I post it to YouTube. I mean, that's how liquid the situation is right now. That's how uneven it is, and that's again the segment is questions that need answers as free agency looms. It starts with Jonathan Marchessault, and this is a grim situation that many Vegas Golden Knight fans didn't want to face, and it's been kind of quiet. I mean, maybe it's a good thing that's been kind of quiet since the World Series of Poker when Marchessault chirped a little bit about his contract, and then the Golden Knights quietly, made sure that some media outlets knew there were some discussions happening, and maybe no news is good news. Maybe no news is no news. I don't know, but I know it's June 21st. We're recording at 6:47 in the morning, and Jonathan Marchessault is unemployed in the next 9 to 10 days.
The goaltending signings, we've seen those this past week. And when you look at the two goalies that VGK has, both could be expendable, although now Aiden Hill's going to stay because he's got a pin. They should bring back, by the way, those player busts. And Cassidy, I put one of those up there yesterday. That was kind of fun.
Aren't they 1-1 in Stanley Cup championships when they have Stanley Cup bust before the season?
Stanley Cup or bust?
Yeah, Oilers. Oh, really fast. You said goaltenders, Tony. This is one that's kind of slipped through the cracks, and I had to do some research to make sure I was accurate on this. Yuri Patera is a UFA. He's 25 years old and has less than 30 games of service in the NHL, or 25 or 30, whatever the number is. So he's basically falls in the Group 6 UFA. So not that Patera is necessarily, it's another question that needs to be answered, right? When I asked Kelly McCrimmon before the Stanley Cup season when I asked McCrimmon about the goaltending after the Stanley Cup season, how they felt about Yuri Patera as number 3, he had a very good vote of confidence. He felt very strongly that Patera had painted the proper picture in the Stanley Cup season to where he could be the number 3. Well, you had Logan Thompson, Aiden Hill both go for incredibly long stretches of hockey, possibly why Aiden Hill got injured two separate occasions this past season. And Logan Thompson looked fatigued beyond belief. Yuri only got 6 appearances in the NHL. I think it was 5 starts and then 1 spell, if I recall. So that's another thing that's going to need to be addressed. And Patera going to UFA, I mean, I don't know what he's going to command. I don't know if he can get a 2-way deal at this point, but either way, that's another concern, another question that needs to be answered.
For goaltenders, why don't they just sign Linus Ullmark there? He's another $5 million goalie.
Just trade Aiden, trade
it doesn't
Aiden,
matter.
Trade
there's no salary cap here.
and trade and get Ullmark. Let's go. There you go.
There's no salary cap here. They can do whatever the heck they want to. Ullmark was at $5 million, so let's get $10 million in goaltenders here in Vegas. And Thompson is expendable. We've seen that. Ullmark, no, that's not going to happen.
Ullmark's numbers are nice. He's 910 save percentage, 938 goals against, a 189 and 22-23. Yeah, it's Ullmark season. Let's go.
Okay, no, do whatever they need to do. But he does have a 16-team no-trade policy there. He's got a no-trade list there. He's probably going to the Senators. But in any event, goaltending for VGK is still, I think, a fluid situation. And we'll have to see what they do there.
That puts it mildly, Tony. That puts it very mildly. It's rocky waters. It's rocky waters, and with Logan coming into a contract season and Aiden Hill, but more or less Logan, I could see trouble on Las Vegas Boulevard on Park Avenue coming into at some point in the 24-25 season. There's going to be drama there. And when I say drama, we're used to goaltending drama, Tony. So when we're talking about drama, it could get ugly. I mean, other things, we haven't even talked about Chandler Stevenson, haven't even talked about, if McNabb or Shea Theodore. I mean, there's so many different things that just haven't been addressed. And I mean, this team could look extremely different by the time we record next Wednesday or Thursday.
Yeah, it's definitely going to look different. And we know that there's going to be a lot of movement. Although, when does the movement begin? That's the biggest question right now. There's supposed to be trades. There's supposed to be movement. Yesterday, we did have that little mini scoop there right as we went on the air with Mantha saying officially that he wasn't coming back. But again, they're not communicating. VGK is not going to tell you anything. We have a feeling that these players are not coming back. Martinez and the entire cast here. Stevenson, I'm still not sure. I'm not sure if VGK would want him back. I'm not sure if I would want to see him in the lineup this upcoming season
If
myself.
Stevenson is willing to extend his current deal to the penny, I think he's 2.75 AAV. If he's willing to do that again, fine. Well, the Golden Knights will find a spot.
Of course, and they're trying to lowball.
He's a $5 million player, right?
Yeah, they're trying to lowball him. They're trying to lowball Marchessault. Marchessault again. If they offer him $6.5 million, I say goodbye. I take the parting gifts. I take the future endeavors. I take all of that.
And he has a choice. It's not like he's stuck going to the Sharks. It's not like
he wants to be here. He's entrenched in this local community. He wants to be here in Las Vegas. He likes living here overall. There's a lot to be said about that. But also, if they come back with a 2-year deal, he's not going to take it. Maybe 3. I think 4 is probably the golden number on term. 4 years.
He probably wants no less than 4, but I'm sure he's probably going to pitch 5 if it does go to off.
He'll take 4. He'll take 4.
I think he'll take 4. But if he really wants 4 times $7 million, and someone says, "How about 5 at 6.5?" He probably takes it and rides into the sunset like that. And I
wouldn't take 6.5. Let me negotiate.
No, I have those projections that we talked about.
Yeah, but again, 6.25 times 3 is the AFC prediction. No, that's not reality. He definitely has earned his way. And right now, when I'm reading a lot of these boards and when I'm going through all of this social media for each team, he's a hot name that's out there. I'll tell you that right now. Marchessault, Detroit Red Wings, much coveted there.
Chicago, Montreal.
Chicago. Nashville's got the money. They'll pay him. Nashville, don't discount Nashville.
There's probably 10 teams that have money that would pay him. And there's probably 10 more teams that would make room for him.
Coming up next, can Edmonton keep this series alive in the Cup Final and force a Game 7?
Must win.
Do or die on Monday night? That's the question. We'll talk about it next right here on Locked On Golden Knights. Hey, Locked On Golden Knights fam. We want to take a moment and bring up one of our new partners, the mobile game called Ultimate Hockey GM. Have you ever dreamed of becoming an NHL general manager and managing your own hockey franchise? Do you think that you could run VGK better than the current GM, Kelly McCrimmon? Pause. Well, your dream can come true. This game is most definitely for you. Manage each and every strategic aspect of the team, play through the season, lead it to glory, and all of that. Hire the right coaches and staff, trade players or draft picks, navigate through free agency and the draft, all in a challenging and realistic game world. As a Golden Knights fan, you know that there is no offseason. GMs are constantly making moves at every point of the year to improve the team's chances, and that's why we think that you are going to absolutely love this game. Ultimate Hockey GM, completely free and playable offline. Play on the go as you want and when you want to. By the way, Locked On Network listeners get a 100% free boost to their franchise when using the promo code LOCKEDONNHL in the game store, so make sure to check that out. To download the game today, just visit hockeygm.app, hockeygm.app, or look it up in the app stores. Ultimate Hockey GM, start your dynasty today. Back on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights from Las Vegas, Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick. We appreciate you making us your very first listen each and every day. Today is WTF Day, and tomorrow's the Chris times Chris Jr. show. Are we watching right now currently what could basically turn out to be a historic Stanley Cup collapse by the Florida Panthers? They're in the midst of it. Florida just one win away from capturing its first cup. 2 losses away from just falling into the abyss. And the Panthers say that they are not out of it, and they're not feeling the pressure right now.
Not out of
But
it.
you
They're
have
up
to
3-2.
believe that the pressure's on the Cats. What's that?
It's funny. I mean, the series, the Florida Panthers, I don't care what happened the first 5 games of the series. The Florida Panthers are 1 game away from winning the Stanley Cup, and they sound like the underdogs. And maybe that's by design right now. Maybe this is Paul Maurice doing some coach speak in the locker room, because they failed the series so far as the favorites, right? They were the favorites coming in. They were up 3-0, and all of a sudden now it's 3-2, and Edmonton has every bit of momentum you can possibly have. And let's be clear, eliminating a team in a 7-game playoff series, primarily hockey more than basketball, is one of the hardest things to do in all of sports. Eliminating the Edmonton Oilers with the Connor McDavid, who is doing things beyond Connor McDavid, makes things a lot more difficult. And thinking back, I was watching the game on Tuesday night. Leon Draisaitl looked like he was coasting a lot out there. I don't know if he's hurt or what was going on, but Draisaitl's had 72 hours to get a little bit better. If Draisaitl comes back out this game and looks good, it's a tough task for Florida. It's a really tough task for Florida right now. And I think the only way Edmonton loses this game is if they get in their own way tonight. I think if Edmonton keeps the game simple and does what they did for the last 2 games, I don't think this is much of a game. But if Edmonton's too amped up, that crowd and, the $2 or $3 grand a ticket cost again the Rogers place tonight, that crowd is going to be absolutely bonkers from the first person that walks into that arena to however the game ends.
And Paul Maurice said yesterday about all of this pressure, he said, we'll take all of it. So he thinks that they're embracing the pressure. How does Florida, however, take the Oilers out of its groove? And Connor McDavid, 8 points in the past 2 games.
I mean, Barkov needs to step up. Obviously, he's their William Karlsson, Tony. He's their William Karlsson. He did a good job in the first 3 games of the series, but the last couple of games, McDavid has risen. McJesus has risen, folks, and we're watching it right now. No, I mean, it's growing up watching the Chicago Bulls. A lot of times there were teams that tried many different approaches to slow down Michael Jordan. There was times when teams would leave Michael Jordan alone. They wouldn't double team him. They would just, let Jordan do what he would do. The problem is he would still score 55 points when that happens. So then teams would double and triple team Michael Jordan. Then that's when obviously you go to Scottie Pippen and Horace Grant and Bill Cartwright and John Paxson and Ron Harper and all those fellas. And there you go. And Luke Longley, there's a good one for you. Luke Longley.
University of New Mexico product. Luke Longley.
So, the thing is, there's so many different ways that Edmonton's going to kill you, and McDavid is going to be involved every step of the way. But Florida, the most important thing this game is the first goal. Bonus points for Florida if that first goal comes in the first 4 or 5 minutes. Extra credit is if it's a cookie that Stuart Skinner gives up, and it just takes the crowd and changes the mentality of the Edmonton Oilers up.
Nick Cousins will be returning for the Panthers tonight on the 4th line. He will replace Kyle Oposa and has 1 assist in 11 games. So
I think that's a benefit for the Edmonton Oilers, honestly, because Cousins might do something stupid.
You know who's in the doghouse right now is Brandon Montour with that sloppy pass cross ice that led to the shorthanded goal when they were on the power play. So I think that they yanked him off the top line on the power play and they put OEL, I think, in his place currently. So there's some lineup changes and nothing's going to matter now other than the team they just have to play hard. And the biggest key, of course, for Florida to stay out of the friggin' box.
You say this like you want Florida to win, Tony. I mean, listen, the Edmonton special teams.
No, you know what? We've been leaning. So I'm doing. It's political season, and I'm doing equal time here because I've been leaning a lot and giving Edmonton so much pub. So it's equal time. That provision is in play.
No, it's not equal time. Edmonton all the way for me.
It's going to be. I think Edmonton tonight too.
Listen, Florida had their chance.
Game 7 on Monday. Are you kidding me right now? That's what I want.
Game 7 on Monday, absolutely. Monday. I would love me. I can't tell you how many times Chris has brought up he wants a double overtime Game 7 for Monday night.
Overtime, just 1 game ends, series ends on goalie interference. I'm sticking with it. That's my prediction.
Oh, Tony looking for the doom and gloom right there. I mean, listen, who knows? And I do hope whatever does happen in these next one or possibly two games, it's clean, right? I don't want the ref drama. I don't want one missed call or one situation that possibly could influence the outcome of not just the game, but the Stanley Cup. No one wants that, starting with the refs. The refs want nothing to do with the outcome of this game. They're trying to keep the whistles in their pocket to a degree. Although Steve Kazari, I've got to give him a ton of credit. Local Steve Kazari, Las Vegas local, such a big call with Matty Tkachuk going on that embellishment. I mean, dude gets hooked on his hands and jumps into the air to get the ref's attention. Like Tkachuk is an absolute idiot for doing that. And credit Kazari for not being afraid in the last 4 or 5 minutes of the game to do the right thing. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. I mean, so many storylines, so few time to cover them all.
Oil slick or catnip?
Tonight. Being a cat family, I'm still going to take oil slick.
Okay, oil slick. Do you have picks then for the Oilers?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm sticking to my guns with Edmonton. I'm going 4-2. That seems to be the number. Edmonton wins 4-2. McDavid gets 5 points.
I'm going to say 4-3, and I'm going to go with Draisaitl and Connor Brown.
Oh yeah, I'm going to go with Connor McDavid and Connor McDavid. Connor McDavid's going to get the first
entry, 1 and 1A.
1 and 1A, exactly, and the odds are, and it's going to be 1-9.
I just came up with that oil slick and catnip thing.
So listen, McDavid's going to receive the first ever goal where he also gets credit and assist. That's why he has a 5-point night in 4 games.
Okay, coming up next, it is that time of the week. It's time for WTF. Chris is getting a little salty over there. Stay with us back right after this on Locked On Golden Knights. Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything that you need to maintain your vehicle and to level it up to peak performance, from superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and much, much more. Whether you are into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you will always find exactly what you are looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride each and every time, or you get your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you are burning rubber and not cash. With all the parts you need, the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and to bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Back on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights from Las Vegas, Tony Cardasco, Chris Golick reporting. We appreciate you tuning in as always. Thank you so much for making us your first listen each and every day. Find us wherever you get your podcast, and please subscribe to our Locked On Golden Knights YouTube channel. You're going to have to help me navigate through some of these WTFs from all of our listeners and stuff. But I'll start off today. Why? It's like I would never, ever, ever, ever go back to an ex, to an old girlfriend. Why would VGK want to go back and re-sign Riley Smith? That's been in the news some. There were no takers, no buyers at the trade deadline. He wants out of Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh wants him gone. And right now it looks as though the top 3 targets for teams, Colorado, Utah, and the Vegas Golden Knights. Can he get back to Vegas in time to get his very own preseason pin?
I mean, if there's one thing the Golden Knights can care less about, it's their image as far as how they handle player personnel. Bringing back Riley Smith would probably only happen if Marchessault was out of the equation, and it would be the ceremonial, hey, we got one misfit back, woohoo, but I don't think the Golden Knights think like that, and Riley Smith isn't the difference maker at age 32 or 33 that he necessarily, and Riley Smith has never been a difference maker. That's the thing. He's a good warm body that sucks a lot of minutes up and puts up some good points, but he's, a glorified third liner at this point of his career, and, replacing Marchessault, who might have another 35 to 40 goal season in him or a couple more. That's not the path to go. So I wouldn't be in on that right now.
Okay, one more WTF. WTF is up with the Golden Knights releasing their preseason schedule as predicted. As predicted. I said that they would, okay, they just need to counter. They have to be in the limelight. They have to get the pub out. This is in, Chris Golick, this is in the VGK playbook, if you will. Other teams in the Pacific taking away from VGK's shine by making deals. Well, we don't have a deal yet, so let's release the schedule yesterday, right after we got off the air. And then we had to make some news there, some headlining news for VGK. The original schedule that I had seen had Frozen Fury still being played in Utah. And in its place now, they will play against the Utah Hockey Team Club. So they've got, I don't know, at Colorado, home of the Avs, the Sharks, WTF, at the Sharks, the Kings, whatever. The Kings are playing all of their home games in Quebec, I believe, because they're fixing up the CRIP.
Surprised, Tony, the preseason schedule didn't piss you off. 4 home games for Vegas. They only travel twice. It's rigged.
And Utah, now they need to gain some fan support, even though the fans in the arena can't see them. It's like you can't see my likes on X. Well, you can't see the game there from the upper deck.
10,000 people can see the game, which is double than.
They're only playing one home game. I think they're only playing VGK at home 7 games. I think all the rest are on the road.
Well, whatever. I mean, so be it. I mean, listen, it's better than that crappy situation at that garbage Mullet Arena down in Tempe or whatever.
Okay. Real fast here. Okay, more rigged in the front end of a back-to-back. Do you think it's more of an advantage for teams, for VGK rather, to face teams that are coming from Arizona, or to face teams that are coming from the altitude of Salt Lake? I think it's going to be more of an advantage. I think it's going to be more of an advantage for VGK.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know exactly how it plays unless you're actually in the altitude. I mean, maybe they're tired, and especially if it's a back-to-back scenario coming from the altitude.
It's always going to be a back-to-back. VGK gets these teams on the tail end of the back-to-back. They don't play the good teams on the front end of the back-to-back, and then they go to Utah. They're going to go to Utah and then come here. Rigged.
WTF, Tony, not even noticing all the work I put in for my background back there, moving some stuff around.
You moved some things. That number 31 Arizona
State Chicago Wolves jersey. That's a Chicago Wolves custom jersey that Amanda got for me.
It's nice.
9 years. About 7 years ago. I love that. It's my favorite jersey in my collection. Got my
cool.
Blackhawks jersey signed by Billy Corgan. You can't really see it on the camera, but there's a Billy Corgan autograph of all things on that Blackhawks jersey up there. That's kind of cool. So WTF for Tony for not paying attention and all the work I put in. WTF for me and Panthers fans, I guess. So there was a post where Panthers fans were complaining about all the attention that the Oilers are getting. It was in response to a post of Connor McDavid climbing up the steps, and the Stanley Cup is up there. And basically all the Florida Panthers fans moaning about not getting enough attention. Whoop-de-doo. Listen, Panthers fans, and I'm WTFing myself because I thought I responded to the post, but I didn't respond. I just did a post that didn't make any sense without a response to it. But the Oilers story is so much more exciting right now. It is so much more exciting than the Florida Panthers situation. And Panthers fans, listen, you guys were up 3-0. Panthers were up 3-0.
This
now
isn't
the
a
national
job,
story.
This is not a choke job. I have to repeat that. There's some teams that just choke it away. This is just Edmonton starting to play to its full potential. WTF.
Tony, it's the choke job of choke jobs if Edmonton walks away with the Stanley Cup. It's the choke job of choke jobs. So finishing my statement, WTF Florida Panther fans complaining about not getting enough pub right now when their team was up 3-0, and you have a much better story in the Edmonton Oilers. Let's go WTF for the city of Las Vegas. The Strip is ready for you, and the Las Vegas Grand Prix this November 21st. Yeah, F1. So my questions about this lovely F1 race are pretty simple. Cool. what's the plan to make the strip enjoyable for the months leading up to the race? And how are small businesses going to not be as negatively impacted as in the past? So, WTF F1 season, it's coming. We're months away. Hopefully, things go a little better. Hopefully, Vegas actually learns something. Hopefully, Vegas does the right thing. But hey, as long as we're giving $100,000 to the WNBA players, you would think the LVCAA, is that, did I say that right?
CBA.
Okay.
CBA.
Maybe they should shell out a little bit of money for some of these small businesses instead of giving $100,000 a pop to professional athletes who are working for a billionaire. How about that?
WTFs. We've got some from all of you folks out there. Our good friend Darth Tommy 774. WTF is the plan. If Marchie gets a deal, the beers go up to $25 and $30 for the playoffs to make up for some of the difference. WTF.
Get lit in the parking lot, bro. Do it the right way and bring a plastic flask. Come on.
WTF. Amateur. Do they still make Boda bags? Are those still out there? Remember? You know what those are? Those little bags? And you never mind. Is that before your time too? You don't know what a Boda bag is. Google it, bro. WTF is Marshy.
Boda, B-O-D-A?
I think it's B-O-T-A. So we used to put like some liquor in and sneak it in. And it just kind of fits right there under your jacket. It's sort of a flask, but it's not like metal.
Ah, that's pretty cool. Looks like an Indiana Jones thing. You put the stones in from the Temple of Doom.
How do you spell it? Is it B-O-T-A?
Bota, B-O-T-A.
Yeah, a Boda bag. You never heard of a Boda bag. You've never seen a
drink
Boda
from
bag?
If when used and maintained correctly.
Yeah, that's exactly it. The liquor would kill any germs that are inside that thing. So it's like what? A little like leather type bag? What is that made of? I just remember sneaking it into football games. My alcoholic family. WTF is Margie not signed yet. That's from Prescott _6787. Any other WTFs? Charlie Fuller. Raiders reportedly have the highest average ticket cost for the NFL this season. WTF. I understand why, but the team certainly isn't good enough to warrant it. Do you see any? John Price, the Bandit. What does he have? WTF, if we lose LT, would you take Ilya Samsonov as a possible replacement? I know you're big on Linus Ullmark. WTF.
Ullmark much greater than Samsonov, I think.
How could they get rid of Aiden Hill's salary?
Say that again.
How could they get rid of? Can you not hear on that end? What is going on today?
I'm like about 80% paying attention, and by 80%, okay. About 20%.
I'm not one of your kids. I'm not your son or daughter, bro.
I pay a lot more attention to my kids than you. A lot more attention.
This is true. Okay, so in any event, how could they get rid of Aiden Hill's $5 million salary? You're not going to spend $10 million in goaltenders.
No.
No one wants Aiden
Hill. Not going anywhere. Aiden's not going anywhere. Logan, on the other hand, maybe Aiden's not going anywhere. Aiden's the golden child.
Gone. Logan's gone. I think. WTF?
I won't. I'm not. Listen, I've been trying to manifest this in a weird way for the last 3 years.
Marner deal's
I'm not going that hard on him. I'm not going
the Marner deal over beers, if he's still around at the Venetian next Thursday night, happens.
I'm okay with Marner. Marner and Eichel and anyone on that line with them would be just amazing. Is it necessarily the Golden Knights pedigree as far as how they build their team? Maybe not, but it's different. You got to pivot. Last year it didn't work when they had a bunch of $4, $5, and $6 million players. So hey, give up a little bit on the back end. Lock up Marner for maybe, I don't think extend him necessarily, but take a chance, and why not? He's got 50 points in 57 playoff games, but every time I say his name, it's like Beetlejuice appearing. Everyone, he's a playoff ghost. He's a playoff ghost. Shea Theodore is the playoff ghost, not Mitch Marner.
WTF, sometimes we have to poke holes and make fun of ourselves, of course. So this past week and the best of, we should have best of shows because I like some of these radio shows that do the best of when they're not working and they're not good. So how could they have a best of? Like if it's a good show, then you want best of.
On our show, are we good? Do we get a best of or no? I don't get it.
I think we deserve best of because we say some funny stuff. I said Jack Eichel needs to shoot more this past week. I said 6 to 7 times a game. And come on, we got to make fun of ourselves sometimes. And
you get what you get on this one, bro.
He's 5th in the NHL in shots on goal. 5th. What was the average about? Not 6 to 7.
4.1. Well, he was 4.1. I think the leader was around 5.
4 shots a game, 6 to 7 times. Come on,
so
man.
Maybe is he shooting too much? Maybe that's the parking lot segment. He's shooting too much.
I don't feel as though he's shooting enough. And now if he goes 6 to 7, he'll definitely get us the 80, 85 points that we've been begging for.
I would love to hear Cassidy's reaction. Like, I wonder if Cassidy even knows where Eichel ranks overall in shots, and if he thinks it's too much, if he wants Jack shooting like that. I would be really curious. Something parking lot for next season with Cassidy, I guess. But I'd be really curious to know Cassidy's reaction to Eichel shooting more.
Okay, so here's how they start the charity softball game, if you will. At home plate, drop the softball, and Eichel will face it off against one of the Raiders players.
So Eichel loses the face-off. Great. They lose the opening face-off.
Well, there's going to be a lot of pressure on him. He's going to have to win it, so they're the home team.
Okay. Yeah, but he's under 50% career life.
He's got the longest stick. How could he ever lose any face-off, for crying out loud? We appreciate everyone tuning in. Thank you so much for putting up with us this past week, and always, especially our everydayers. Don't forget tomorrow the YouTube exclusive. That's right. The Chris and Chris Jr. show. Are you guys working tomorrow?
I doubt.
Still on summer break.
If the Stanley Cup goes tomorrow, we might. I think it just kind of depends.
Okay, it depends. It's game time decision. And
we do a podcast for our hockey team. Actually, we do about a 10 minute podcast after all of our games.
On the YouTube
that's kind
channel.
of maybe taking.
That's entertaining.
What's that?
Throw that on the YouTube channel. Okay, we appreciate everyone tuning in. Thank you so much. We've gotten through another week. Next week's a big one as the NHL draft hits our city, and we'll have the latest updates and much, much more. For my man, Chris Golick, I'm Tony Cardasco. We appreciate you tuning in. We'll see you next week right here on Locked On Golden Knights, and please take care.